Welcome to this DaVinci Resolve Fusion node breakdown. Today's node is the dTransform node. So we're going to jump right into Fusion, and we've got our setup from yesterday's dmerge node. And for you members, if you remember right, yesterday I mentioned these files are in our little posts, so you can download these files. And not today, but in a few days, I'll probably upload more files so we can actually do this better, because there are some issues with this. And if you look at the stuff we brought in yesterday, we've got all these weird things going around the edge. And this is just from the render quality, basically. So I'm just rendering super fast and super low res, because even though this says 3840 by 2160, these are pretty low sample rate exports from Redshift. So that's why this is happening right here. And also, anytime we're doing deep pixel stuff, you really want to set up your composites orderly, and it depends on what you're doing. So say we had some green screen footage of a person walking through this little area of like live action footage. There would really be no need to have our statue and all this stuff separate. We can have our entire scene, our main entire scene, all as one file. And if you had it all as one file, this little stuff wouldn't do it no matter what your sample rate was, because you're not merging two things together. Hope that makes sense, because if you look at all these individual elements, we don't have these around these statues, even though our statues, if we look at our merge, are individual elements. So you can see we've got statue, 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 and it's just in your render, depending on how your settings are. If you don't have, like, say, indirect only and all that stuff set up, so you're receiving the light and the reflections from different stuff, your individual renders of stuff might do little odd artifacts. Anyway, jumping into today's node. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in another element. We'll bring in some like a little fog. So I'm going to add a loader node, and I'm going to bring in our fog, and I'm just going to copy these and paste them. Bring this in, and I'm going to bring this into our little merge. So now we got fog and it looks horrible. So one thing in this is, if we're doing different volumes and different things for our compositing, we probably need a different deep to points node. So I'm going to disconnect this, and we're going to add a new deep to points. And I'm going to plug our fog in, and on our deep to points, I'm going to make renderable, and I'm going to use this same exact camera and bring that in. And on our deep to points, I'm going to crank that up, put this up to 1.5. And then I'm going to take our deep to points and put it in our 3D merge. So now we've got that fog. And we can play with our settings here, our density and all that stuff, to change our look. And again, this fog was rendered out in pretty low bit rate, so you're going to get these weird, odd things. And if this was production ready, we'd export these out on a much higher and better sample rate, especially for our volume, so it looked better. But this will fit the purpose for this tutorial, and I won't have to wait an hour for renders to happen. So the transform node, or the dTransform node, if we wanted this fog, say, somewhere else in this image, if we look at our merge, you can see we've got our little fog there. There's two little areas of fog going on around our statues. But if we wanted to move these around, we could use a dTransform. So after our image to deep, I'm going to type dTransform and add a dTransform node. And all our dTransform node does is transforms on the Z scale, translates on the Z, as well as the X and the Y, and it allows me to change my size. So if I want to change on the Z scale, as I change, you can see that's moving the location, but it's actually just changing the scale. So if I look here and I change the scale, you can see it's changing the scale of that Z information. As opposed to our Z translate, we're actually translating it on the Z axis. So it's bringing it closer to the camera, getting sucked in our camera, and we can bring it out to bring it all the way back if we want. Additionally, we can translate on the X and the Y, and we can change the size. And if we need to, we can change the aspect of it. And if we need a custom aspect, we can uncheck this and we can change our size on the X and the Y. So if we jump back into our render view, we can go to our dTransform and we can say translate it up so it's covering all those statues. And let's raise it to make sure it's out of the ground there. So now we've got our fog right up in here. And we could even, if we wanted to, we can add another dTransform. And after here, we're going to add a demerge. And we can bring our image to deep into this dTransform. Bring this one into our merge, and then bring this into our image to deep. So now we have two. So technically, if we wanted to, we could take this one and we'll go to our merge so we can see what's going on. We wanted to move it way back here by the trees so it looks like there's a bunch of trees in. We could translate that on the Z to bring it back. So now it's behind our wall. And, let's turn so we can see that. So now we've got our fog almost behind our wall. So now it's behind our wall. We can change that scale to make it larger. And then we can bring it up on the Y. So now if we look back behind our trees, we can start seeing that fog in there. So now we've got fog in the background using that same fog we brought in and using the dTransform node. So that is the dTransform node. I will see you in the next node breakdown.